Greetings. This is Skyler Saunders seeing what's current. Now you can roll up your loud packs for Miss Anime Bullock herself, Tina Turner. She is transitioned, as I will use your common language. She has gone on. She's in the bosom of Abraham. She's out of here. She was 83 years old, would have been 84 this year, but she didn't make it that far. And I just want to share something from close to 13 years ago, article I wrote for Nappy Afro. And it consists of a similar Grammy Award winning rock and soul pair, Ike and Tina Turner, and their turbulent history. It is a case of rappers delivering thought provoking, introspective insight on physical force within romantic relationships, or is it just a display of a dearth of imagination? I provide the top five Ike and Tina Turner hip hop references. Scream at me. That's what I used to say all the time. Number five came in Kanye West featuring Jay Z, Diamonds from Sierra Leone remix 2005. Here's the lyrics. Spend your whole life trying to get that ice on that Polaroid being look so nice. How could something so wrong make me feel so right? Before I beat myself up like Ike, you can still throw your Rockefeller diamond tonight. That's Kanye. And Mr. Ye, as he's called now. But at that time, he was Mr. West, and he shows his inner conflict, please excuse the pun, but half steps by almost saying that Ike Turner is known for inflicting harm upon himself. Rate Sucker Punch. Irv Gotti featuring Ja Rule, Ashanti, Vita, and Charlie Baltimore. Down for You, 2002. The lyric. Yeah, let's get it gwinning like we Asher Simpson and Ike in anime on one of the good days. You smile like sun rays, 5'5" with brown eyes and thick legs. Only for the rule, baby. Ja Rule. Skyler Saunders. Scholarized states. The rule issues a comparatively benign reference to the couple here. Rating Love Tap. Number three, Common, featuring Bilal. It's Your World Part 1 and 2 from 2005. And the previous one was from 2002. This one, the lyric. Her stepfather thought he was Ike, so her mother he strike. So she got to like-minded niggas who like crimes and figures. That's Common. Skyler states, the artist formerly known as Common Sense mentions the late crooner as he spits some lines about the harsh reality for an unnamed female from the Chi-Town streets. Rating, hard left and right combo. Number two, now this may surprise you. This is very interesting. Notorious B.I.G. Machine Gun Funk from 1994. That's why I pack a Nina, F a misdemeanor, beating them MFer like the beat Tina, like Ike beat Tina. What's love got to do when I'm ripping all through your whole crew? Notorious B.I.G. This is pretty hard. Those are pretty hard lines. Biggie's blunt last pun, I promise. Words seem hard body karate. Rating body blow. Number one, Chris Brown featuring Tyga and Kevin McCall. Deuces, 2010. The lyric. Shorty full of drama like gangsta grizzles. I finally noticed it. Finally hit me like Tina did in the limo. It finally hit me. Kevin McCall. Skyler states, at first thought, what's a Kevin McCall? Then I find out that he's a young gunner from the left coast who's on more tracks with Ike Turner 2.0, aka singer Chris Brown. Well, anyway, K-Mac interestingly focuses on how Miss Anime Bullock gave her then husband his comeuppance with a few rounds of her own ghetto love. Rating Love TKO. Technical knockout. That was from a story I had written for Nappy Afro again 12 years ago. And we have somebody coming to the fore. Christopher Perkins, R.I.P. Tina Turner, a true black queen. Now you can argue that she had a pimp. She had a pimple. Thank you, Christopher Perkins. If you want me to keep doing real black media news work, please support the show. I have a goal tonight. It's $10. Just chip in $1, $2. I'm taking those. I'll take whatever is handed to me. I'm not at the flying level as Mr. Terrain is. I'm still crawling, but I'm moving. I'm on the move. I'm like like an infant, that reached, the stages of crawling. And so, with that said, I have some more different, quotes and different lyrics that I've witnessed ever since writing that piece. This is coming from the clips, namely Malice or No Malice, Malice at the time of this, from Doorman, from the album To the Casket Drops. He says, "Cut it, then I whip her like the anime." It's one of them. I don't have a ring or anything like that, but I do have a comment in saying that he it's just it's answering my own question. It's a dearth of people using the same lines over and over, not having imagination, just thinking, oh well, I whipped it like anime. And how many other rappers have said that? No Mouse is no different from the string of rappers I mentioned just previously. And it just continues on. Lil B and Wonton Soup, Eat the Cake, like anime. So that's another single. Eat the Cake. It's a famous scene in the movie, in the film, with Lawrence Fishburne and oh my goodness, what's it? Angela Bassett. And she is being accosted by Ike. He's putting the cake in her face, saying, "Eat the cake, eat the cake." And that's just a famous scene that everybody remembers, but it's a very harsh reality for Tina Turner. And then again, you have to look at the fact that Ike was, that strong role model in her life. And without his strong pimp hand, literally, she may never have reached the greatness that she had before. Now, like I said, domestic violence is nothing to play with. It's nothing, it's a very serious subject. But when you have a system and you have a couple that is, so powerful within an industry, there has to be some level of discipline, even though it doesn't have to go that far. But there has to be some kind of hand check, some kind of check, even verbal is the best. A verbal beating is way more powerful than a fist or a slap to the face. To be verbal and be able to speak to somebody, to a woman especially, is the best case scenario. You don't have to put a hand on her, but you mold and you put on her mind. You put it in her head that you are over her, that she's supposed to worship you. That's the key. And I'll continue with the other lyrics. Rick Ross from his song with Drake, Lord Knows. Whipping yay like anime. Another example. This just continues. It goes on and on and on and on. The anime references, the anime bullet, and it. Tina Turner. She must have been. It must have been on her radar somehow. And I wonder if she either maybe shed a tear, or maybe she laughed it off a little bit. Maybe had a little snicker. And if she really was, offended by all these different references to her and her falling out and her abusive relationship with Ike Turner. And finally, Jay-Z, say this one for last. Drunk in Love. Now eat the cake, anime. Said eat the cake, anime. Classic lines, 2013. Drunk in Love. Is that all she will be remembered for? Based on this generation, the Zoomies, the Zoomers, and the Alphas and the Betas coming up. Will she be remembered mainly for the fact that she was in an abusive relationship, or for her star power, those famous legs, all the way up into her 80s? And they had, she was on Broadway. She wasn't in the show, but she came to the show and addressed the cast and crew and the audience and said, thank you for, representing me in such a way. I, Tina. That's what's so engrossing and so motivating is the fact that she still remained herself. She still kept her mind. She didn't end up in a nut house where I've been on many occasions. Brief stints, but still I was impatient in those places. She didn't end up permanently. She found a nice chalet, I guess you can say, in Switzerland, and lived out the rest of her life as a Buddhist, which can be critical. She was mystified, but she said, she was better with the Buddhist idealism rather than being, raised in the traditional black churches in America. So she took so many different strands from her past. She took the church, she took the rock and roll scene, she took her acting ability and roles like in Tommy and the Mad Max the Terrordome. She had so much, going for her. She sold over 150 million albums. You really can't, shed too many tears for that. You should be applauding that fact that she was one of the highest selling artists of all time. And she sold out arenas. She sold out, super arenas, the kind that the Rolling Stones, usually do. She was able to do that. She was able to, channel her own soul and her own spirit. And I say that in a completely atheistic way, but her own mentality and launch that and keep that going and keep that flowing. She had the ability, she had the talent to do that. When she had that talent, all the way up to being in her 80s, she kept going. She didn't stop. She never quit. She just kept on rolling. I'm using another pun. Proud Mary, keep on. One of her most famous songs, because she elevated it. It was just another, rock song, another cool song to listen to. And she took it to another level of energy and spunk and a profound sense of performance, and she just took it to that next level. She really did. She knew what she was doing the whole time, and even with all the drama that she faced, there wouldn't be a Mary J. Blige. Most likely, there wouldn't be a Beyonce without a Tina Turner. They both channeled their pain and their anguish into multi-million and multi-billion-dollar, entities within the music realm. That's what they did. They challenged themselves, and they had to look at her as an icon, had to look at her as a template, an architect in the game. Even Shaka Khan, going back even further, she must have took pointers from Tina Turner on certain songs and different albums. That's what was so amazing. She did it all by herself on after Ike, and she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. One with Ike Turner's and his band, and one as a solo artist. That's something to be, grateful and proud about. She should have lived a life that was, completely worry free, but apparently it wasn't, and that's due to a strong pimp hand. You got to respect the pimp hand. It wasn't the best way. I don't like it, and I don't love it, but I respect the pimp hand. I would rather Ike be more someone that was less physical and more verbal. Like I said, once you wrap your mind, once you wrap your verbal fist around a woman's throat, not literally, but her mental throat, that's the best way to get at a woman. That's how you get out of a woman. You get in her mind. You get in her thoughts. You don't harm her physically. You treat her as a specimen of someone who can take the body blows and the slaps and the chokeholds on her mentality, in her mind. That's the most important part. That's what's most critical. When you're able to do something that is not performed by most men or most males. Most males and little boys don't know how to finesse a woman. The only way that you should ever hit a woman or strike her is in self-defense. If she's coming at you with a knife or a hammer or some crazy mess, you should be able to drop her like a sack of potatoes. Because that's self-defense. But in the case of Tina Turner, that doesn't seem like the same issue. And like I said, like with McCall, I don't know where he is right now. He must have fell way off, but maybe he's just doing his local scene on the West Coast. But he was like, it finally hit her. Like she finally hit back when they were in the limo in that scene. She was able to return those punches. She was able to return those slaps because she had just had enough of it. And she took her own mind, her own body, her own self, to a completely different country that's devoid of any issues with wars or most mass shootings or any abortion entanglements and different immigration issues. How often do you hear about Switzerland being involved in all that? Let me check something really quick. I'm gonna check and see if Switzerland even has a police force with guns. There's a firearm regulation in Switzerland that allows the acquisition of semi-automatic and with a may issue permit fully automatic firearms by Swiss citizens. If you are a Swiss citizen, you are generally permitted to own a weapon if you are at least 18 years old, you are not subject to a general deputyship, or are represented through a care appointee. There is no reason to believe you may use the weapon to harm yourself or others. And that seems pretty simple. Swiss police use guns less often, but with deadlier force. That's something that's interesting to see. Police forces in Switzerland used their firearms a total of 12 times in 2020. 12. 12 times. Think about that. That's amazing. It was 12 times in America. That's like in a good afternoon in Chicago. If you have, that many weapons that are drawn, I mean, it'd be a problem. Since October, and this is another issue. This is a totally different issue. Since October 2002, abortions are legal until the 12th week of pregnancy. The woman has to sign a declaration that she is in any kind of distress and that she wishes to end the pregnancy. And that is Switzerland, folks. Just a few, tidbits. It's very famous for, billionaires wanting to stash their cash and different things like that. But it's all about, she was trying to find inner peace. She had a turbulent life. Tina Turner had a rough life, but she kept going. She was a consummate professional. You couldn't tell. You couldn't tell it in the videos. You couldn't tell in the movie screen. You couldn't tell on the concert stage. She gave it all up, all right there, then and there. She had every opportunity to be crying and wandering around and losing her mind and being a lunatic, but she chose not to do that. She chose not to be a psychotic. She could have very well ended up in a totally different situation. She could have ended up in a psych ward. for all the mental anguish that she experienced. But she kept going. She knew that she had her talent. She knew that she had her life to live. All of that was, a part of it. That's the best part of, her life. That she persevered. That's one thing she said. You persevere and you believe in yourself. And you can do it. It may seem, shady right now, but in the future, it's going to get a lot brighter. It's going to get brighter and brighter and brighter. It's going to get, sunny days are here again. The clouds are going away. Tina Turner has had every right to happiness, but she still needed that pimp hand. She still needed a guiding force to take her into greatness. I mean, it's almost cliche now. You look at Michael Jackson, his father beat him into greatness. I mean, we can argue like the Atlanta episode. Not everything good comes from pain. That was one of the lines that was stated by one of the characters in the show, and that's true. Not everything, but some things. Some things do have to have some bit of trauma in order to understand the reality of your situation now. What you do with that trauma, that's the issue. Whatever happens to you, whether it's sexual abuse, whether it's assault, whether it's constant wearing down on your psyche, which I prefer, that's all well and good. In a sense, the psyche part, like I said previously, you break down a woman's mind verbally, you got her. And she can do much greater than she could ever experience. She'll get you your money. She can put her own self out on the blade, on the track, whether that means a concert stage or, in the studio or whatever. I'm just using it as a metaphor. In the pimp game, I'm just saying, you can once you're on the track, you're out there all by yourself, and you're only using your wits to fight off Johns, fight off crowd promoters and managers and agents. You have to contend with them because they are the ones that are going to further or hinder your career. It's going to be built on that fact alone. Do you have the mental toughness? Do you have that bit of pain and anguish and terror that you experienced to make you a better person? Just look at the military. I'm coming from the Marine Corps. I had to go through basic training. I'm a basically trained Marine. I didn't go into Special Forces. But they wear you down too. They're taking a civilian, a pudgy, smart mouth, or too tall, too skinny, too fat, and whatever they are, and they're going to mold them into a unit that works and that can create value. And that's what the other, armed forces do as well, but especially the United States Marine Corps. And that's like with Tina Turner. She was able to mold her own life based on her trauma, based on what happened to her. Because she knew that she had so much pain and anguish inside of her that she had to become this great pop star, this great queen of rock and roll, as they say. That was her honorific. Queen of rock and roll. She earned that title. She was the queen of rock and roll. And this goes back to the blues. Bessie Smith, Ma Rainey, Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Robert Johnson. Same issues apply. Singing the blues. What are the blues? The blues are a way of looking at life. It's a way of understanding what life is. It's a way of comprehending living as a human being. It has all the facets of drama, exposition, all the way up to denouement. It has all of that. And the blues evolved into rock and roll, rockabilly and rock and roll. And she just took up the mantle and ran with it as fast as she could. And them legs, whoo! She had some sexy legs. She was a very, vivacious woman. And, she had the power, she had the might to say that she could be somebody. Her self-faith, her belief in herself was so candid and true that she actually took it upon herself to be something greater than what she would have been had she not been abused or had a traumatic experience in her life. And I'm not saying that everybody has to have a traumatic experience in their life in order to be great. That's not what I'm saying. You have people like Bill Gates. You have people like, Steve Jobs, rock and power to him. They didn't experience physical, abuse that I know of. Maybe they might have in the earlier stages, but they certainly didn't have it in their later life, in their later lives. But Tina Turner, you can smoke that loud pack. Smoke that pack right now. Smoke that Tina Turner pack right now. Right now. Take that into your psyche and remember just how much it took to be Tina Turner. How much work ethic, how much performance time, how much time in the gym, how much eating routines, how much dieting it took for her to stay the same shape virtually from the 1960s to now. Same shape, virtually. She might have gained a few pounds here and there, but for the most part, she looked good. 80-something years old, 80 or 81 when she was up on the Broadway stage addressing the cast and crew and audience. She looked fly. She looked good on her mama, on her hood. Tina Turner, smoke that loud pack, because she may have been. I'm not saying, I'm not putting it on her. I'm just putting it out there. It's possible that she probably was smoking that goodie. Let me look that up. Switzerland, marijuana. Cannabis in Switzerland is illegal, though minor possession was decriminalized to a fine in 2012. She might have racked up some fines, allegedly. I don't know. But she might have been smoking that goody good. It's illegal in Switzerland. But she could have been on that stuff. I know y'all are smoking that pack right now. As you should. As you should. I'm talking about the 21 and older crowd. You should be on that stuff right now. You should be on that goody good. For Tina Turner. Her whole life. All the way from the black churches to the widest rock and roll stages you can think of. Rocking 20,000 fans. 10,000, 20,000 fans. Who can do that? Who in their career can say they've done that? Today. Taylor Swift, maybe. Beyonce, probably. That's about it. There's a few more. But for the most part, that's the standard. She bore that standard. She represented it for it. She kept it coming. She never quit. That fire, that passion that she showed during her shows, that was not a mistake. That was not fake. I see the Real Mojo TV is coming into the chat line. Please observe my Cash App, PayPal. Tonight's goal is $10. Salute to you. I feel you. The Real Mojo TV. If you have the wherewithal, send me $1 or $2. I'll take a whole lot of ones because it's better than a whole lot of nuns. As the great Simple the Pimp, rock and power to him, once said, that's where we are. That's how we're doing business now. You know, it's the biggest panhandle in the world. I'm asking for you to donate. Anybody out there, whoever is out there, I see 2 people right now. I got 5 links. I got 2 people watching right now. 5 likes. And I appreciate everyone because I'm crawling. I'm crawling on the ground. I'm not walking or running. And I'm certainly not flying. But you got to start somewhere. I'm starting right here. This is all in the case of Mr. Choice Star Terrain and, entertaining the thought of saying you need to show your face. And what happened? I showed my face and I got 3.5 thousand views in a month. 3.5. I just took it upon myself. I said, I want to do this. I want to do this my way. I'm going to wear this shirt and tie and put on this hat and also do my, sleep show. And I just believe in myself. I don't care. I don't care how little it is, how diminutive my views are. It's not going to deter me. I'm going to keep going until I get at least 1 million views. And that's probably going to take me about 5 or 10 years. I've been on YouTube ever since 2006. And that's the thing. It's what Tina Turner said. You got to believe in yourself. It's a marathon. You got to keep going, keep pushing. Even if you come in last, you finish the race. That's a joke too. What do you call somebody who finishes last in med school? Doctor. Doesn't matter. They could have had the worst grades. As long as they passed, they're a doctor. You can't knock that. That's just a fact. So that's where I am right now. But I want to say about Tina Turner, Miss Anime Bullock. It took her a lot of gall and a lot of oomph and get up and go and chutzpah to even consider going on her ride into stardom. It started out at one of the performances of Ike during an intermission, during Ike and his band, during intermission. She just asked kindly and sweetly, "Can I sing? Can you let me sing?" She took the mic and she just tore down the house. And they're like, "What? This is intermission. What's going on here?" And so she just kept on going. She just kept on going. She didn't stop from there. From that moment on, during a little intermission, she just rocketed off into stardom. Without regard. Nobody could touch her. I shouldn't say nobody could touch her. But you know what I mean. Nobody could come near her. Or maybe that's even too much. But nobody could stop her stride. Proud Mary. Keep on rolling. Rolling on a river. If I say any more, I'll probably have to pay for a copyright. So I'm not going to say anything else. But rolling on a river, like that's her signature. She has a few signature songs, but that's probably the one that will most resonate, with anyone within the music industry. Because she just took over. She rocked the mic. She said, I'm gonna use my hips, I'm gonna use my legs, I'm gonna use my arms. Proud Mary, keep on rolling. Rolling on a river. She just kept it moving. She kept that very same energy. She was hyped up on it. She was ready to go. She was TTG. She was trained to go. And she had that within her body ever since her beginning, ever since her inception. She knew that in her mind. She knew that in her thoughts. She knew that she could be someone other than what she could have been. I could have put her in a psychiatric ward. He could have put her in a hospital. He could have put her in a cast. His pimp hand was strong. Literally, his hand. He put hands on her. I gotta respect the fact that he had such a strong pimp hand. But I'm not trying to blame, blame the victim. She was a victim of, Ike's hand. But what I'm saying is that she just needed that extra push. Should have been verbal. Should have been all psychological. You mess with a woman's brain. You get her to do things that she wouldn't have normally done, all through verbal interaction. That's the best way to do it. Otherwise, she wouldn't have had the wherewithal to become the greatest performer in her era. Female performer, I should say. There's Michael Jackson and Prince and so many others, Stevie Wonder. But as a female artist, she was the greatest. Probably one of the greatest of all time to ever do it. Tina Turner. Anna Mae Bullock, born 1939. She took it there. She used her own faculties of her thoughts and her brain to craft something that was completely new and never done. Nobody's ever seen a woman with those kind of legs, those kind of arms, that kind of voice coming out of her. No one had ever seen that before. She started all that. She started the swift hands and the long legs and shooting forth and all that. That was all her. Now she was probably inspired by various people. I'm gonna give you one person I know she was inspired by. Sister Rosetta Tharpe. She was a legend with a guitar. See, Miss Tina, she just used her voice. But you have people like Rosetta Tharpe who actually use an instrument beyond her voice. And this is in the 40s and 50s. So it just makes so much sense to regard her as the queen, if you want to say that. She was. She wasn't a goddess. White women are the goddesses. Let's not get that messed up. But she can claim the title as Black Queen. She was a Black Queen. And I don't think she ever even dabbled in drugs or, any kind of illegal situations or anything like that. I think she just tried to live out her life peacefully in Switzerland. Just like in the television series Billions. Yeah, I'll give you, I'm not going to spoil it for you, even though some people like to be spoiled. But one of the top characters is dropped off in a helicopter in Switzerland to live there, for the rest of his or her life. I don't know. What could be one or the other. Or their life, since they have, I'm just going to say unisex. Non-binary. That's it. Non-binary people, a person. That was the first show to actually feature a non-binary person. Peep that. That's history. That's facts. But getting back to Miss Tina Turner, you can be smoking all night to the loud pack of Tina Turner. Smoking. Or even doing a little, playing with your nose. If you wanted to. To Miss Tina Turner. The way she turned out. The way we got main TV coming in saying trash and emoji with laughing. I'm not seeing the connection. What is trash, sir? Could you explain? Can you explain a little bit more what is trash? I would like to know what you mean. I hate emojis. And I'm saying 10, 20 years from now, there's going to be emojis on SATs. There's going to be there's going to be student aptitude tests with emojis on them. I know it. It's coming down the pike. I know it has to happen. I hate emojis. I don't know what it's not verbal. It's not anything that connects, beyond, just the mind. It's like they're cute, they're funny, but at the same time, they're an annoyance. And one of the worst features of this current age to have emojis. So please fill up my, my chat room with as many emojis as you want, just to troll. That's fine. I can get down with that. I can figure out what's going to happen next. But they're just an annoyance. They're just a hindrance, and they're not verbal or corresponding with how the mind works in that way. You see them, it's like little pictures or icons, and you think, oh, okay, the person's sad, the person's laughing. Oh, they got a tattoo. Oh, they're whatever the case may be. Oh, they're going to the hospital. Oh, they're in a car. I get it. I kind of understand. I get it. I guess it is only you, main TV. People came in and left. It got up to so far as 2 or 3, I think, concurrent. And so I'm just, like I said, I'm crawling here, sir. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. If you weren't watching, I'd have 0 views. But I'm still going to talk. I'm still going to run my mouth. I'm still going to get this word out. Just like anybody else that started somewhere. They started off in clubs getting booed. They started off getting talked over and people drinking and yelling and throwing things at them. And then they become multimillionaires and billionaires. I've gotten that before. What is Odd Job from? Odd Job is from where? This is called a trophy, by the way. This isn't a fedora. Odd Job is from what series? That's what I'm asking. But this hat is specifically made for, people that are not high fashion, but like in between. They used to be, made for people that were at the races and people that came on. Okay, James Bond. Okay, I see what you're saying. Was he a villain or was he a hero? Was he with James Bond or was he against him? You have to let me know that. But I got, hey, look, this is what's happening. I talked it up. I got 4 viewers now. Goldfinger, but was he a villain? Was main TV? Was he a villain or was he with James Bond? Was he rolling? Blues Brothers, though. Okay, but going back to James Bond, I'll find. I'll look it up myself. Odd Job, James Bond. Okay, he has a totally different hat. And he's definitely he's a henchman to the villain, Auric Goldfinger, in the 1959 James Bond novel Goldfinger, and its 1964 film adaptation. Okay, so I'll take that. I see where you're understanding that, but it's not. He has more of like a bowler. That's more of a bowler hat. That's not a trilby. Yeah, he was a bad guy. I just see that. I just said that he's a villain. But hey, I appreciate you. I don't care. I'm doing this. I'm getting more views than I've ever had. You are watching. That's all I need. If one person is watching, then I'm doing something. If one person came in and left and there's zero, that's something to me. I appreciate that. That's something that I can look at and say, I need to do this more. I need to scale back on that. Or I need to do this. And that's what gives me, leverage. But returning to this Tina Turner loud pack. I have never smoked marijuana in my life, and I plan not to ever smoke it until if I reach the age of 100, then I'm smoking a loud pack. Or maybe in my 80s or 90s, I might start smoking weed. But now I'm not. I'm too focused. I'm focused on getting out these videos and letting people know who I am and what I'm about. If you don't know who I am, I'm Skyler Easton Saunders from Newark, Delaware. I'm a cornball. I'm a nerd from Newark. I'm a dork from Delaware. You can say all kinds of things around me. I used to wear glasses. I was Urkel. I was Urkel in the Marine Corps. I had portholes, is what they call them, like the windows to a ship. And that's where we are right now. I'm on the internet doing my own Marine thing. I'm dressed, put on my shirt and tie. I look like, salute, Gil Prince. Hoorah. Salute to you, sir. Salute to everything you do, sir. Everything you are. Oh, Ricardo Emmanuel. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. Thank you for the hate, but I'm not your dad. I have no biological children. And I know that for sure because, whenever I was intimate with a woman, it didn't end up where she thought it would be, whenever I was intimate with a woman, it'd be on her skin, not in any, crevices. So, respect to Gil Prince, Ricardo Manuel. I have a goal tonight. It's $10. If you chip in $1 or $2, that's great. As long as it's something I can fold and something I can hold, that's great. You don't have to put in the full $10, but you can if you want. Hey, you can put in $20. But my goal is $10. $10 to be, to be rewarded, to be awarded to me based on my efforts, based off of my research. If you didn't see the beginning of the show, I went down a list of lyrics that various rappers have used relating to Tina Turner, aka Maria Anna Mae Bullock. And that's where we are right now. We're still riding on that Tina Turner pack. She was probably the greatest of her generation as a female. She probably was the absolute greatest, the queen of rock and roll. Without a doubt. She's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. 2 times. 2 times. So you know that it's serious. You know that's real deal. You know that's true when people come up to you and say, who is Tina Turner? Well, she's a woman that got slapped around by Ike. That's usually the response. Like she didn't have a whole career spanning 40, 50 years. Probably 60 years almost now. Like she didn't put in the work, put on those heels, and work them legs. Like she didn't do that. She had such a way of presenting herself to the world, and that she didn't even weep. She didn't even cry about it. In the movie, she may have, and she may have even in real life. But she didn't show it when she was on that stage. When she was on that stage, she transformed. She went into a whirlwind. Nobody could stop her. Nobody could touch her. She was something beyond that. She was beyond all recognition when she became a star on the stage. She was a true rock star. That's a rarity nowadays. There's very few rock stars. There are very few people that can claim the title of being a rock star. And you have people that are still traveling, still on tour. The Rolling Stones are on tour. U2 is on tour. Aerosmith is wrapping up, saying this is their final tour. They've been doing it since the 70s. Almost 50 years or 50 years plus. And they're doing their thing. Now, of course, we have bands that switch out different instrumentalists, switch out different vocalists, but the band remains the same. And Tina Turner remained the same. She didn't deviate from her own self-worth. She never put herself down. She got away from America. She said, you know what? This ain't the scene. This ain't what I'm about. Y'all can keep the immigration and the abortion and the mass shootings and all that. Y'all can keep all of that. All of that, y'all can keep all that. I'm going to Switzerland. I'm going to have my money stashed. I know she had a couple mil stashed. A few mil stashed in Swiss banks. I know she had to. I'm saying allegedly because I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't say it as a certified fact, but I can suspect that she had some mills stashed in them Swiss banks. She wasn't playing around. The Tremoros album sold 150 million. She probably made good 80, 90 million from them. You know, after taxes, after all that. And that's another thing I want to know. Does Switzerland have taxes? Switzerland taxes versus US. Taxes on income, profits, and capital gains is greater than percent of total taxes, 40.87%, ranked 47th, 92.26%, ranked first. Believe that. But think about this. It also says that Switzerland's ranked 34.4%, ranked 7th, and America is ranked 37.7%, ranked 5th. 10% more than Switzerland. So that just goes to show you what that's about. Why she probably parked her money in a Swiss bank and kept it pushing. She lived out the rest of her lives in luxury. She lived out her days knowing that she could be somebody of worth. And she had in her own mind what she wanted to be. She wanted to be a rock star. She wanted to be something that nobody expected her to be. She wanted to be somebody that could be a cannon and fire off whatever she wanted to say. She made that happen. She made that occur. It took her every ounce of her being, her body, her mind to be something special. And again, I must reiterate that pep hand. Obviously, all the references, every reference to her is anime, eat the cake, and whip it like anime, and I beat it like anime, and all this stuff for all these rappers over time. They're all connected. They're all together in one voice saying, you know, we understand you, Miss Turner, but we got to go in on you. We got to use, the most famous lines from that movie and use it to advance our quotes. That's essentially what's happening. And you have to respect her because she took it upon herself to be such a great person, someone that was productive. If anything, she was productive. She had a mind about her. She had a mind about her that said that she could do something, that she could be something in this world. You know, there's not a lot of people that can claim that, to claim her throne as queen of rock and roll. There's so many honorifics. Michael Jackson, queen of pop. Queen, pause. King of pop. Let me pause. There was no shade. I just misspoke. The king of rap, Eminem. That's a fact. Can't knock it. Can't say anything against it. That's a fact. Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. Chairman of the board, Frank Sinatra. Princess of R&B, Aaliyah. There's so many different ways that you can count this honorific title and thing that we have. We have to have somebody with a name. Oh, she's the queen of this. He's the queen of that. I can't ever forget what Chris Rock said about Whitney Houston calling Bobby Brown the king of R&B. He said, "King of what? Rocks and blunts?" Like seriously, like Bobby Brown, king of R&B, not even close. You have to look at the way that people have come up and been able to establish themselves, to have themselves living a life that superseded everybody else's expectations. That's what is so important. And that's what is crucial to understand. Tina Turner was such an amazing act that people forgot about the fact that she was abused and, in a domestic situation that wasn't so kind. She made people forget about all that. She got up on that stage. She showed them legs. It was over. It was done. She didn't have to worry about anything else. The world was her stage. And all the players, they were just hovering around her. All the dancers, all the musicians, all the instrumentalists. They were just riding along with her, rolling on a river, like Proud Mary. And that's what she wanted to extend to the world. Even from a place almost, comparatively speaking to America, as remote as Switzerland. She wanted to continue that. And when she came back to America, to New York City on Broadway, she expressed that. She expressed the fact that she was so loved and, respected, more importantly than love. She was respected as, the person that she had become in the Broadway show I, Tina. She took it seriously. She didn't stop. She kept going. She didn't look for a way to get out of trouble. She faced it. She faced it with a mind to say, what's love got to do with it? I thank you for rolling with me. Thank you for the 2 people that are watching right now. Thank you for the 4 people that were concurrent. Thank you for the 8 likes. I appreciate all of you. Thank you, Main TV, Guild Prince, Ricardo Emmanuel. Let me see here. Christopher Perkins. Thank you all. You didn't donate. We didn't match the goal. We didn't meet the goal. That's okay. Because I got $7 on in total from being on the show. And that's $7 that I did not have, that I earned myself, and I didn't steal it. I earned it. And I appreciate you and everything that you do for this show. And I hope you take care. Rock and power to Tina Turner.